Oh, there she is. There.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm getting used to this whole StreamYard thing. This is brand new to me.
Me
So
too.
you're
It's
my,
the first
so
time.
so you're kind of like my guinea pig on all this right
Oh,
now.
the
Uh,
blind leading the blind because this is my first time too.
uh, Kayla's downstairs making me dinner, so I gotta wrap this up as quickly as I can, even though that's not gonna happen. I get chatty. Let me make sure that my computer is at a good rate where I don't have to grab my
Okay.
charger, but I'm gonna grab my charger anyway and get this thing started. Uh, so work with us through the technical difficulties of me getting my charger like a dummy. I should have had this ahead of time, but we're gonna
You're
do this.
fine. I'm trying to get.
Can you hear yourself? Because I hear you. Oh, now I hear echoes. Okay, Taylor, you good? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. Okay. I think you're in my headphones.
Okay, cool beans. Well, as you can see, your name is slowly scrolling at the bottom of the screen if you haven't noticed. Ah, there's our special guest, Taylor Sanders. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back from hiatus, back from Boston, back from taking a break from everything podcast life to say welcome to Rap Sheet Podcast, season number 3, episode number 6. And today, this is a monumental occasion, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first guest that this person I'm interviewing today, who's already here, is the first person I'm interviewing representing Kansas City, Missouri. Why
What?
did it take
What?
3 seasons for me to get someone from Kansas City, Missouri to finally be on the show? I don't know, but here it is. And I couldn't think of a better person to kick off, to break the Rap Sheet's breaking its cherry right now with Kansas City talent. Amen and amen.
Okay.
So, ladies,
Okay.
um, if you have seen any of my posts, whether Facebook or Instagram, you may have seen a beautiful image of Erica Badu, Jill Scott, and Lauren Hill. Well, I wonder how I got that picture. Let's see. Let's go back a few moments ago where my lady and I were out and about and we went to this art exhibit and I saw this beautiful picture and I said, "Whoa, I gotta have that." And I hounded this woman day in, day out, wanted the original. She wouldn't give it to me. I begged and I begged and I begged. But she's like, I can give you a copy of it. I'm like, the heck with the copy. I want to be the only one to have this in my room, in my studio, where it's actually hanging above my head, like right now. Otherwise, I'd
Oh,
show it
really?
to everybody. Well, yeah, it's hanging up right there.
I
See,
love
there
it. It made it to the podcast room.
it did. Made it to the
Good.
studio. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the creator of that particular portrait and so many others is sitting with us today. She is probably the best damn visual painter I've seen in a long time. Salute to my man Pro Black from Boston. He's probably the only other person that I would put in the upper echelon of visual artists. You all got to meet. I got to make sure you all two meet eventually. You will like Pro Black.
I would
He's a
love to.
great
I
guy.
would love to.
Wait to see his sketchbook. You're gonna be like, damn. But
I'm sure I'll be equally impressed. I love seeing new art and meeting new artists. So let me know.
yeah, we're gonna have to definitely set that up. So Pro Black, if you're listening right now, man, link up with me, man. So the next time I come to Boston, I may have to bring Taylor with me so you all can meet in person and do some on the spot stuff. And whatever happens, happens. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, right about now, sitting with us in the vibe chair, she is just the epitome of visual greatness. I wish I could sketch as well as she can paint. This is why I do other things that are pretty darn talented, because that ain't one of them. But ladies and gentlemen, she has been doing this for quite a long time. Amazing backstory, amazing history, and we're just going to let it all out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Taylor Sanders.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
My fiance might come in and bug me and hand me a sandwich at the same time. So if that happens, please don't be alarmed.
I'd
But you
love to
all
see
know
you,
each other.
Taylor.
You all know each other anyway. So
Yes,
so Taylor, how are you? First and foremost,
I'm doing great. Doing great. How about you?
I'm tired. I'm old.
Tired?
I'm almost 50. I'm old.
I couldn't believe that when you said that, but black don't crack, so you just never know.
Yeah,
But
but every
yeah, I've been on the run too, working on a lot of projects at the same time. So I'm exhausted, but also good. I'm good.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you think I'm a workaholic, wait now. See the interruptions coming because here comes Akela right now. She's trying to be
That's a
incognito.
good interruption, though. That's a good interruption.
Come in, say hi.
Hi, Taylor.
Hey, Kayla.
How are
She
you?
said, "Come in."
Good. How you doing?
She being incognito. See
Okay, okay.
that's the missus. Um, to begin, where did the love of visual art start? Location wise, age wise, where were you? What did you see? What was the art? What was the visual? And who was the visual painter or painters that inspired you? Lay it all out for us. How did this love come about?
Okay, okay. Well, it's kind of interesting that me actually painting, starting the actual painting was like later in life in my adult years when I really was 26. But really as a kid, I would say that I would doodle. That's really the best word I can come up for what I was doing because it really wasn't sketching. It really wasn't drawing a certain subject, but all my notebooks from going to school and stuff had like little doodles on the side of them. When I was in school on completely unrelated subjects, I still had notebooks with little doodles everywhere. But I always admired people who were in the arts. I always thought it was really cool. I always wanted to see what they were working on. I have an aunt that I actually, it's kind of strange because we really, really favor each other, and she was an artist. So, and I just thought I was fascinated by her. And really, it started after going to school for a few years and then working several jobs. Like, I really entered into this process of trying to find my thing, my path, my thing. And I had no
Mhm.
idea what that was. So I worked tons of jobs. I was in the military for a few years. I mean, just trying everything. And then I got to a point where I was very overworked and
Mhm.
stressed. And I was like, I feel like I'm about to explode. I don't know what I need, but I know I need an outlet. So that was the start of it. So I was like, okay, I need an outlet. What kind of outlet would work for me? And then I
Mhm.
kind of went back to that process of thinking about what did I love to do when I was a kid? And it
Mhm.
took me immediately back to drawing. And so I said, okay, I know I used to love to draw. Why don't I try painting? And also, I should have said this at the beginning, but that came after a lot of prayer. So much prayer. Just, asking God, what am I here to do? What's my purpose?
Mhm.
Um, what am I here to do? Because I refuse to believe that we're here to live lives that we're not fulfilled in. So I was just like, what is that for me? And shortly after that, I was led to painting. And so I literally Googled beginner paint supply list and
Mhm.
found a list. I went around the corner to my local Michael's, got me like a beginner setup. I went home and painted, and I painted all night long. And I just fell in love, and I've been doing it ever since. Yeah.
um, that's a beautiful story for those that don't know or have never heard of you. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that are just now tuning in, Taylor Sanders is here. She is a visual artiste. She is a brand. She is a woman of color. Amen and amen. And she don't play no games. Like, I wish I could show you all the visual, but I'm not taking it down. But I look at it every time I come into this room. That's the first thing I look at, and I'm like, man, that's bad. Oh my goodness, that's bad.
That makes me
You
so
just told me
happy.
something though, huh?
I said that makes me so happy. You know, when your painting finds a home, you know, and you know it's loved and appreciated. That's what it's all about.
Amen and amen to that. One thing you just mentioned that I did not know of, and I say this to anyone: thank you for your service.
Thank
Um,
you.
my father was a veteran way
Okay.
back in the 50s, 60s, and so on. So I heard his stories many times about what was the war like, and they were not the easiest stories to hear. So I can only imagine the stress that you was put through when you were doing your tour of duty. So we thank you for your service, and we thank you that you're alive to talk about it, because there's a lot of people who don't make it to that level. So amen and amen to that. Do you remember the first painting or or mural or whatever it was that you were looking at, maybe through a book or magazine, that just said, whoa, this artist is for real? Do you remember who it was and what was the painting or or portrait or mural? Do you remember what it was? If so, talk about it.
I've seen a lot of them. So many. Like I've always been drawn to art even before I was creating. So many paintings, and I'm such a sensitive person. Art really speaks to me. Just it always catches my eye, so I'm always seeing things. But I can't say the first as far as one that really pops out, but I know a really memorable moment was um, there was an exhibit at the Nelson Atkins Museum here in Kansas City called
Hmm.
30 Americans. And did you go to that exhibit?
No.
Okay. It was so nice. It was called 30 Americans, and I believe, I hope I get this right, that it was 30 different African American artists exhibiting in the show. So I was like, I have to go. So I went, and I seen so many paintings and murals I was moved by, but there was this one piece by Kehinde Wiley,
Hmm.
who's a very well known artist. He is the artist that painted President Obama's portrait, um, with all the flowers behind it, and he's
Okay,
sitting
I
in a
remember that.
chair. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Or I think it was leaves or something. But anyways, he had this painting at the Nelson Atkins Museum that was literally the size of the wall. So it was a painting, but it's mural size.
Hmm.
If I had to guess, it was probably like 12 foot by 30 feet or something ridiculous. And
Wow.
it was a black man laying on the ground, um, and it was just absolutely breathtaking. It was the first time that I was like, wow, I am moved by this piece of art. I am moved by this piece of art. And I just remember thinking, I was painting at this time. I want to create art like that, art that creates an impact like that. So definitely that piece.
Okay. If I cough, please forgive me. I've been battling this
It's okay.
lately, so I don't want to alarm you because the cough is
Oh,
about
you
to
said
come.
battling a cold. You
Yeah,
said.
yeah. That
Well,
whole winter to spring transition never works for me.
it's been a
Um,
long transition.
see, there it is. Perfect. And it's going to happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. So deal with my coughs, okay? Deal with my coughs. You ain't got no choice. Um, there are a lot of forms of visual art. I know abstract art is one. Um, you're going to have to like school me on the types of art that there is. I'm not schooled as well as you, but I like you. If I see it, I'll know I like it. Like, for instance, I saw a visual not that long ago um, by one of my all-time historical leaders that I think did a lot for Black men and Black women. Goes by the name of Malcolm X. Some lady painted him. She wouldn't let me have this painting, and I'm still mad at her for that. Yeah, I'm glad she's laughing because I'm talking about her.
You're
All right,
talking about the one I'm working on. That's hilarious.
I want that Malcolm one. That should be a late birthday present for me. However,
I can't wait to
um,
get back to that painting. I'll be
yeah.
getting back to that soon.
Mhm.
It's actually
I'm
right there.
always I brought that up because it seems that you have taken a delight to capture historical figures. Has that always been a mainstay for you, or is that something you started doing recently?
That has been something that I've just done. I think one of my first paintings was a portrait of Muhammad Ali. And so, yeah, I'm really inspired by the greats
Mhm.
in any lane that's in. Like, I love seeing people do their thing. And, it's inspiring. And I paint a lot of people. I do a lot of portraits or figurative paintings, they'll call them. But I do a lot of portraits and I just love it. I think that painting someone that inspires you, it's I just love it. So I'm always going to paint historical figures.
Do you freestyle the paintings that you do, or are you copying them from a portrait that you may have just found somewhere most times?
I always have a reference that I'm using. Excuse me. Um, I'm sorry, my throat.
Don't
Just
worry
like
about it.
you
It's all
said, transitioning from spring to or
amen and
summer
amen.
to
That's
spring.
right.
But what was your question?
I asked the visuals that you create, do you already have it in your
Oh,
head, or are you copying it from a
yes,
picture?
it went that fast. Yes, I always use a reference. So I always like to have the reference because for me, and maybe just where I'm at in my practice of realism, I like to
Mhm.
have that image there to really get the likeness of that person. But I never want my end product to look just like the reference. It's
Right.
there so that I can capture the realism. But I love to play with color. So usually the painting that I end up with is very different from the reference as far as the colors because color is really where I'm trying to express like emotion through. So yeah.
Real right. I'm not, of course, I'm not familiar with Kansas City. I've only been here for almost 4 years now. You've been here probably a lot longer than that. So with all that being said, the scene in Kansas City as it relates to your line of work as a visual artist, is it competitive? Is it male driven? Is it men or women of color driven? Like, how would you describe the scene here for someone like me who's an outsider looking in that's not familiar with it?
I think it's a little bit of all of that.
Okay.
I think it just depends on the perspective of the people around you. Some people look at art as a real competitive type thing. I really try not to think of it that way.
Hmm.
So I try to block out that type of stuff. I feel like it's a growing scene for sure. Um,
Hmm.
it's similar to Kansas City itself. Like, I really feel like Kansas City is trying to grow right now and make a big leap. So it's growing. So there is that competition. There are some of the negative things that are going to be anywhere in any space you're in, but there's a lot of
Right.
love too. And I think that there's a lot of talent in Kansas City. There's a lot of talented visual artists here. So I
Hmm.
think if you have the wrong mindset, you'll think that you're surrounded by competition. But for me, I'm inspired because it's people that are constantly raising the bar, and I love that.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Hmm.
If you are just now tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we have Sister Taylor Sanders sitting with us in the vibe chair tonight. If you're in the Kansas City area, or even if you're not, and you are looking for a centerpiece, something for the bedroom, something for the living room, something even put in your car, whatever it is, you better hit this woman up
Let
because
me know.
she gets the cosign of all cosigns, and she's the only visual artist that I know thus far. I will say before we go any further, Anita, who is the owner of Soiree Steakhouse on 18th and Vine, just put a Facebook post up asking visual artists if they would like their work featured in one
Ooh,
of her restaurants. I quickly tagged you and said, Taylor Sanders, get on this. I don't know if you saw
thank you
that,
so much.
but it's on Facebook. So as soon as this is over, go look that up. Reach out to Anita. Get some of your work in one of her restaurants because she just opened up a new one in the airport. So you never know. You might
Ooh,
have
oh,
some.
I love that. She made it to the airport. I love that. That's
Get on it.
huge.
Get on it quickly.
Thank you. Thank you for
Of
saying
course.
that because that's something that I want to start doing is showing in different businesses and restaurants and things like that.
So that leads me to my next question. How do you go about selling your merchandise? Of course, I've seen you in many exhibits. We've come out to a bunch of your stuff already. But aside from doing that, how do you reach out to your customers to get this stuff sold? Explain the process of the business end of it all for those that don't know it.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit, it's a lot of different lanes. How I started out was, well, with not even the intention of selling, I would
Mhm.
work on my art and post it on social media. And social media has just continued to be the best source for me so far with selling work and just getting it out there. It's just posting it on social media. And I think from social media, just like you told me about, different opportunities come up of people looking for art in their restaurant or art in their business or a mural for their building.
Mhm.
So I'm always looking for those opportunities online as well as posting. I do pop ups. So there might be, like I've done one with Kendra Scott before that you and Akayla went to, where
Yep.
it's basically you just go into that's a jewelry store on the plaza in Kansas City. It's nationwide, but that's where it was. And basically, I would do a live painting and have some paintings on showing, and people could buy those paintings, and they could also buy prints or copies of my paintings that I
Mhm.
have on fine art paper and also on canvas. Showing in galleries, so actual just art shows. That's another way that I sell them, and that's pretty much it for now. Pretty much it.
So what she's saying, ladies and gentlemen, is she's going to have her own showcase soon in her studio, which I've been to. It's fairly big. It's a beautiful spot where it's just going to be
Thank
all of
you.
her stuff and nobody else's. I'm saying get on it. Like stop doing
Yes,
other
I'm
people's
definitely
music
working.
and do your own.
I'm absolutely. I'm working
There you go.
towards a solo show one
There
day.
you go.
One day
That's what
soon.
you better do it before the end of the summer. I better have been to one. Hmm. That's
Yes,
all.
that's
Well,
that's a big goal on my list for sure.
amen and amen. Um, I know you're inspired, as you said earlier, by lots of visual painters that basically fuel you to do what you do. Who are some of your favorites, whether they're from past, present, or even of today? Name some.
Favorite artist?
Hmm.
Favorite artist? Kehinde Wiley, who I've already mentioned before, but I just have to mention him again because just incredible. That's all I got for that. Um, as far as people from the past, I love Frida
They don't have to
Kahlo.
be from Kansas City neither, just anybody.
Just anybody. Okay, Frida Kahlo. I love her. I think she had a very unique style. I love just her story and how she was dealing with her chronic pain and um, using the art to cope with that. And I just love how she was just her. Um, I mean, I guess I don't have many that just stick out to me. I'm such a fan of so many artists, so many
Mhm.
artists.
With the way black art is being depicted, or I should say, and I hate using this word, but I feel it's been used for the wrong reasons a lot, and mainly not just music, but movies, TV, videos, like anywhere and anywhere we as artists of color can get our stuff seen and heard, we feel like it's been taken hostage, quote unquote. We won't explain by why or by who. You know where I'm going with this.
Hmm.
How do you take on the challenge of, first of all, being a woman? Because we know it's hard being a woman in any type of business, but when you're a woman of color, let me tell y'all something. For everyone who's tuned in right now or will be tuning in to hear this, as an artist of color, I can give you hands down experiences of how hard it is to just do what it is you love without being. It's hard to move freely without being scrutinized by someone that either
Oh yeah.
doesn't know the business that you're in or just wants to just be ignorant and try to take your creative juice away from you and bring out the side of you that can really damage not only the person or persons but the culture in general, and then us as a people if we fall to that stuff. So when you find yourself in that corner, or when you find yourself in that situation, how do you go about, how do you counterattack it without countering attack it, if you know what I mean?
So are you saying like when I come across that kind
When you
of
come across unruly
opposition?
people that wanna, yeah, when you come across unruly people that wanna, say or do or something that isn't positive, and they direct it towards you. Oh, this black N word shouldn't be doing this. Who that? She should be out there make cooking food in the kitchen, or doing the quote unquote woman role thing. When you come across people like that really don't think this is where you should be running a business, doing something that you love because they think your place is in there, or your place
Hmm.
is this, or you should just be servicing your husband or boyfriend, or what, that type of. How do you deal with that negativity and turn it around for good to say, you know what, this is where I belong, this is where I want to be, and I'm just going to show you, I can show you better than I can tell you type response? How do you go about doing that when you've been attacked?
I love that. I love that because there's a lot of that. There is a lot, and I think one of the biggest ways is consciously choosing what you put your energy towards, what you're going to focus on, and consciously choosing to ignore most of that. And I think, and I went through a big lesson of that this year. A lot
Hmm.
of, naysayers, a lot of people I thought were, my friends even saying things, really hitting close to home. And
Hmm.
the biggest way to cope with that I found is to keep working. While those people are gathered together saying whatever they're saying, you keep working. And
Hmm.
and at first I feel like you're intentionally trying to ignore those things. And then I think after a while you just don't even care. You get to a point where you're just so focused on what you're doing and
Hmm.
so focused on this being about God and not about people,
Right.
as far as naysayers. I mean,
Hmm.
it's not about people as far as naysayers. It's about, using this gift that God gave you and blessing the people that are here for that and are, on that same vibe with you. So I think it was a hard lesson to learn, but I really had to say that I'm really, I'm really, all the people that love and support me, I'm
Hmm.
really, it's really a disservice to them when I choose to focus on the people who aren't supporting me, who don't want me to win. So I
Yeah.
guess consciously just choosing that. And then also, always trying to do excellent work, always striving for excellent work to where it can get to a point where it's like, you know, um, they can say that, but then, they can judge by your work, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess I choose to ignore a lot of that. But also another big lesson for me this year was being more assertive, which is very, very difficult as a Black woman. Because just simply speaking your truth sometimes, people are already looking at you through a lens of, oh, is she an angry Black woman, or you know what I mean? So it's very hard to be assertive and by being assertive, I just mean speaking your truth and, asking for what's fair to you. So, but I've just learned that I just have to do it regardless of the response.
I want to ask this question also. If Kayla sees this part, you can be mad at me, but Kayla's an attractive woman, as y'all can see. No, I'm not flirting. Relax. Um, I know in the game, for me, whenever I'm DJing somewhere, the corniest of women will just come up and say a catchy line or want to offer me a drink or either do something
The
that I
corniest.
don't really need to mention right now. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to do my job. I don't need this harassment. And sometimes they just back off, or sometimes they just say, "Oh, he's pushing me away," but that means me. I'm gonna come harder. I'm gonna be more diligent because he's saying no right away. And I'm just like, oh goodness gracious. So my question
You're
to
like, I
you,
mean,
yeah. Oh my lord. So my question to you is, has that ever happened to you where guys will see this amazing woman doing what she loves and she's visual eye candy and all that good stuff, and they try to force themselves on you in a way that's just like, oh, if only I could just step on my element and say, get the away from me right now. um I guess I ask that because I'm sure that you probably get hit on a lot by the wrong type of people.
sometimes.
And how do you, I have a bad mouth and I have a temper. I will just tell you what I think about you and won't care. I don't care if it ruins my brand or not. I'm an East Coast kid. I will speak to you like that. You will not like it. I will hurt your feelings. Don't test the water.
We all
You
need a little
being
bit of
so
that.
you being so, and I want to say you're a little more laid back and not as extroverted as I am, but you said you are assertive. So when you come across that's trying to enter into your aura and disrupt the creative juice you got going on, how do you combat that all the while staying true to who Taylor is and not messing up her brand, but letting them know that, I'm not going to tolerate this. You want to come at me correctly. Like, how do you go about doing that when you come across those type of individuals?
Um, I think that pretty quickly you can see if someone is interested in your art or interested in something else. I think you can see that pretty quickly. And it hasn't been a major problem for me or anything like that.
Amen.
But I just try to just make it very clear that I'm here for art. That's what I'm focused on right now, and just kind of just make that very clear.
Yeah.
Luckily, I haven't ever had an issue where I feel like I made myself clear and somebody just wasn't catching the hint, wasn't getting it. So thankfully, I haven't encountered that.
Yeah.
So I think
Amen.
just letting people know that you're just serious about your art and keeping the conversation there about
Yeah.
art or whatever they're doing, and not letting it drift to anything else. So I think
Amen.
people can tell too. They're like, okay, this person is here for this. They're not
Yeah.
worried about me.
Oh yeah. You'll give them that look and be like, okay, I'm fall back. I got you. Word up. What would you say? How long have you been doing this? I should ask that from the beginning. How long have you been doing this now creatively?
So I've been painting. This is going on my 7th year. So
Okay.
7 years, which is crazy.
Congrats
I
to
know it
that.
feels like. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It feels like
I
what?
see
What
you
about
just. It feels like it's been a long time, and at the same time, like it flew by. So I don't know how it feels like both of those at the same time, but it does.
that's because it's not work to you and it's something you enjoy doing, so the time flies by fast. And yeah, I can relate to that as well. Um, what has been the biggest challenge for you? Actually, let me ask that question differently. What's been the toughest obstacle that you feel you've overcome and why?
Hmm. The toughest obstacle. Hmm. Let me think about that. I
Take your
think there's
time.
been several. There's been several because I feel like whenever you're on a journey, I won't say, I'll speak for myself. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
this journey that I've been on, it's been an art journey, but it's also been like just it's been self mastery. You're trying to better yourself, and the more you better yourself, the more you can offer, your craft. So
Right.
it's been so many obstacles, from like I was telling you before, people have really hurt me. People that I thought, supported me, come to find out they're actually one of my naysayers. And so that was a huge lesson for me this year. And what it taught me was that, God was just telling me, are you focused on the gift that I gave you? Or are you focused on gospel about you? So things like that. Um, and I overcame that by just working,
Mm-hmm.
toning that out and getting to work. And when you do that, at first you're consciously ignoring that stuff, but then it turns into now you're painting and you love painting and you're just in the joy of creating art. So that was an obstacle for me. Um, when I was looking for painting, I was looking for a way to find my voice again. So
Mm-hmm.
using my voice and expressing myself was something I really, really struggled with. So just the process of this whole art journey has been me overcoming that, learning how to express myself and communicate and stuff. So that probably is the biggest one.
Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, we have Taylor Sanders here. I'm just going to pause for the cause real quick to show you the guy I was talking about earlier. His name is Rob Gibbs, aka Pro Black. This is one
Okay.
of his pieces right here.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yep. And this
Pro
is like
Black. I won't forget
the
that.
wall is like I wish I could
Oh,
tell you
that's a
how big.
mural.
Yeah, this was like a
Oh, okay.
huge mural. Like right
Wow.
before I came back home, I took a picture standing right in front of it because I always wanted to stand next to this picture. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get this. This is the last picture I took before I got on the airplane to come back. And I was like,
That's
man,
absolutely beautiful. And
I got one.
that's beautiful. And I have such a whole new respect for muralists. Because I've done two murals. Well, kind of like
Wow.
three.
Explain that.
Yeah.
Explain. I'm sorry to cut you off. I've asked Pro Black so many times what goes into making a mural, but he never seems to have time to really explain it to me, even though I interviewed him, especially that interview that I did with him. Um, explain explain the process of putting a mural together from point A to point Z. Go for it.
Right. Okay. So I'm definitely no expert. And I think that just everything in my art journey, I'm self-taught. So I am
Mhm.
learning as I go all the time, learning from the people around me and just learning as I go. And I think that, and I've seen everyone's mural process, everybody's painting process is different. For
Right.
me, I usually start with some type of drawing, some type of sketch. And lately I've been doing that on my iPad because it's just real easy to draw on there. And I'll come up with my concept. I'll basically create a drawing of whatever the mural will be in those dimensions. So if
Mm-hmm.
it's 12 foot by 10 foot, that's the size I'll make my drawing on my iPad and I'll draw out the concept. And then I think the hardest part of painting a mural is doing it to scale because say you're painting on a canvas, of course there's bigger canvases, but if you're painting on, let's say, a somewhat small to medium sized canvas,
Mm-hmm.
even a larger one, you can see your whole canvas in front of you. So you can kind of see where things are. When you're painting on something like a mural and you're painting on a wall, you can't see the whole space that you're creating on. So trying to get things to scale is the hardest part to me. There's a lot of like painting something and then having to step back and look at what you did and then coming closer to the wall and painting and stepping back. And
Mhm.
it's physical too. Like I was sweating. There's a lot of like climbing ladders and stuff like that, and going up and down a ladder, and it's physical work. I have a whole nother respect for muralists. I do. But just like you said, that's something that I love so much about murals that can be different than canvas is like you getting to stop and take a picture with the mural. Like there's this whole interactive part of murals that I love.
So, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on this, but I have to ask because it sounds like something that you probably experienced. What happens when you're doing a mural and you make a mistake? How do you fix the
Well,
mistake?
I think that I think it is so important to say that I make mistakes all the time. All the time. And the best thing about paint is you can paint over it. You just paint
Okay.
over it. So that's really it. I kind of sometimes the process of painting can kind of feel more like making less mistakes. I don't correcting mistakes all the way to the end is almost what it can feel like. Um, but you just paint over it. So, like I was saying with the mural, I think making a mistake with a mural is harder to clean up, in my opinion. But just because you're constantly having to back up, look at what you're painting, come closer, there's a lot of
Mhm.
that. But you just paint over it.
Well, I'll have to see you in action one day during your mural so I can just see it firsthand and record videos and be like, yeah, this is my sister right here. See, so I can just want to check it out. Um, Creatively for me, I draw inspiration from my curated mixes and stuff by just listening to certain artists in my car that just help me get through my day, or certain artists that speak on a message that I really gravitate towards, just to feel empowerment and everything. When you're creating, who do you listen to when you're doing your thing in your studio, wherever you may be?
Who do I listen to? I listen to my the music I listen to is broad. It's all over the place. But I would say what I listen to the most would be R&B
Okay.
and probably neo soul is the most. Um, I'll listen to some rap a little bit, not a ton.
Mm.
So I listen to rap, R&B, neo soul, a little bit of jazz. I even get
Yeah,
into
you gotta name some artists though. Give me some names. Like
oh, you want some
who is it?
names? You want some names? Well,
Who's on
clearly
Taylor's phone
Jill.
right now? Who are you listening to?
I'm listening to always. Okay, there's staples. Jill Scott, Erica Badu, Lauren Hill.
Stop,
Is her name
stop. Now you see how she just
Pause for just
mentioned
Mills?
three. You see that? You see? Divine inter. You see, we're here. Keep going though. Jill
And
Scott, Erica Lauren. Who else?
I painted those three because I have created so much art to their music. Because I think it's so important to what you're listening to when you're creating. And I just love what they bring to their craft. You know, it's more than singing a song. Like you can feel their heart in what they're doing. So I listen to them. Lately I've been listening to Sir. What else I've been listening to? Those three. I wish I could grab my phone right now.
All
Snow
good.
Allegra, her,
Okay.
Jasmine Sullivan, um,
Okay.
Tim, yeah, tons of people. Love music. It's a huge part of my creative process, listening to music.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to also say that she has another masterpiece done of the one and only Sade.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I need that one too. Thank you. Okay.
That's an earlier painting. Yeah, that was my first time using oil paint. Talk
Ooh.
about struggling. I struggled all the way through.
What when you're just okay, so you just mentioned oil painting, you talked about murals. I'm sure you do abstract work. Which one is the out of those three, or even maybe a type of style that you didn't mention? Which, aside from the murals, which I'm sure is very hard to prepare for because just the size of the mural, what other style of painting is either easy to do, or you find it a challenge, and why?
Hmm. I would say, I think it can vary just depending on the image. Like, I think I'm most comfortable painting people. I'm
Hmm.
most comfortable painting people for sure. So I guess that would come somewhat easier to me, but it just depends. Like, let's say I'm painting a person that's wearing I'm just trying to think of like a crazy material. Um, I don't know. I'm thinking of some crazy material, a
Like a
jean
poncho
jacket
or
or
something?
a poncho or some weird material that's just difficult to paint. So there's
Hmm.
different challenges like that. But I feel most comfortable painting people. Right now, I'm painting like a cityscape, which I don't do often. So that has been a real challenge because I've noticed with painting people, there's not a lot of straight edges and things like that. Whereas painting a cityscape, it's a lot of edges have to be perfect, lines have to be straight. So I guess everything you're painting has different challenges. Like if you're painting something from nature, a lot of times there's like flowers in the wind or something like that. There's no symmetry to that. So it's not like, oh, if I paint this side, the other side will be the same. So I don't know. Everything just has different challenges. The lighting source on it can make it difficult. Like, are you painting something that's a candlelit scene or a nighttime scene? All those things. But I try to pick paintings that have something challenging about them so that I can, grow.
Okay, now this next question is going to be kind of funny. So just recently, a certain football team won another championship, and it wasn't the Buffalo Bills, but we're going to just leave that one right there. Yes, I'm upset. They should have won. But anyway, when they won, salute to the Kansas City Chiefs for winning another Super Bowl. I'm I'm pretty sure that you already have Kansas City. You've done Chiefs work in the past.
Yep.
When they won this championship, did it excite you to draw something, paint something new? And have you started it yet, or will you start a new championship visual of some sort?
Absolutely. Like I love the Chiefs. I'm not like some crazy, well, not crazy, that's not the word. I'm not this huge football fan. I've definitely watched the Chiefs games. I'm rooting for the home team, which is it's a great home team to pick. Um, and I'm always inspired during the season to create something Chiefs related. But this year I just didn't have time. But I
Mhm.
wanted to for sure. I want to get a piece with Kelsey in it. I've got
Have you
Holmes, not Kelsey.
have you ever thought of have you ever thought about possibly one day doing one for the team or actually presenting one to the team? And because
I would
I
love to.
think you should really let down your guard a little bit and try to get yourself out there. Be like, look, I have this and this. Can I get y'all to? Can I give this to y'all? Or even better, they may say, you know what? Let us autograph that for you.
Right.
If that happens, that piece that
Huge.
you know how much. And I know you're not thinking money. I know it's the last thing you think of. But let's just let's just imagine real quick. Patrick Mahomes signs something you created that has his image on it. Do you realize how much money that could be worth?
I think it would change the price for sure.
Uh,
I think
yeah,
it would
six
go up for
figures.
sure.
Six
Yep.
figures. Yeah,
I would love to think it's just my talent, but I think the signature would add something to it for sure.
it definitely would.
No, that's a
Um,
really good lane, and I've seen other artists do that. I think that's a great lane to get to meet the people that you're painting. The subject of those paintings, and say, "Hey, I created this. Can you sign it?" And it happens a lot of times. A
yeah.
lot of people will.
I want to ask this because you painted two different portraits of people that are no longer with us that have been influential in my career as a man of color. That being Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Um, just their stories and their upbringing that I've learned their history over the years just makes me a total fan. Out of everyone that we've lost, whether it be Chadwick Boseman or there's so many people that I could think of that are no longer with us. If someone were to challenge you to create a visual of someone that was dear to you that is no longer with us, who would that person be and why?
Hmm. I think first of all, there'd be several people that I'd want to pick, but
Hmm.
if I had to pick one just from a couple that really stand out, it'd probably be a tie between Maya Angelou and Malcolm X. Even though I've painted Malcolm X, this is my second time. I know I'll be painting both of those people again.
Hmm. Amen.
Definitely. Maya
Um,
just, I mean, she's just amazing. Her words have helped me through so much in my life, and what I love about her is like Maya Angelou is one of those people where it's like when crazy things are going on, I think
hmm.
about I wonder what her input on this would be. You know, I wonder what she would think about what's going on right now. Same with Malcolm X. So those are
Right.
the type of people like even after they pass, we still wonder like what would their take on this situation be. Like I wish we had their input right now.
It's funny that we speaking on Malcolm because when he was a gangster and all that, living that life, he lived in Boston, and this was Malcolm's house in Roxbury, Massachusetts. When he
Wow,
was,
okay, I've never seen that.
yep, this is Malcolm X's home, and because he had such a huge history there. Um, if you ever saw the movie, then you would know because in the early stages, my mother would talk about Malcolm a lot. And being that I was born in New York, my mother was in college at the time before she met my dad. She was actually there when she saw Malcolm get assassinated. She was there. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I was like, wait, you were there? Like, yeah, I sat in the third row because this is when I was trying to be a Muslim woman. I sat in the third row. And my only question was, how did you manage to get out of there and not get killed?
Yes,
That was a crazy
that
situation.
is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought,
Yeah.
it's a lot for people to say they lived in the area at the time, but to actually be there, wow.
At the ballroom.
Wow.
Yes. That was, and I always hear her tell that story. And every time she tells it, I'm just like, I can only imagine the horror of what it was like actually being there. And again, how did you manage to get out without getting trampled on or even shot yourself? Like, because that place was
She
full of
could she
people.
could write a book on that. She could write a
She's
book on
actually
that.
writing a book now. She's already
Oh
doing
wow.
it. Yeah,
She should.
she's
She
already
should.
doing it. So you'll meet her come August. So she wants
Yes.
to meet everyone.
Wedding time
She wants to meet everybody. This is not we're not having wedding talk right now. No, let's not do that. Let's not do
coming
that.
up. Coming
Um,
up.
yeah, again, let's not do that. Taylor's not going to listen. She's just going to keep doing it. Hey, it's going to happen to you one day. I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna get you too when it happens to you.
When it's wedding time for
Um,
me.
oh, hey, you never know the time. It'll happen. It'll happen. It'll happen one
God
day.
God's got some
Um,
work to do.
yeah. Um, in closing, um, I think what you're doing is amazing. I know you probably don't hear that a whole lot, but I'm going to say because I couldn't draw for the life of me. So to see the things that you do and it make it look so effortless is just an amazing thing. Where do you see yourself? Listen, you've been doing this for 7 years now, so we're in 2023. Where do you see yourself in 20? Let's 10 years from now. Where do you want to see the Taylor Sanders brand go?
Hmm. 10 years from now. 10 years from now, I want to be I want to feel I want people to feel like when they see my art that they they're moved by it. I like when I was talking about that piece from Kehinde Wiley. I
Mhm.
want my work to impact people on that level in a positive way. So I guess what I want to do over the next 10 years is continue to just hone in on my skills. Um, and I just want to give back as much as I can to people through art. And my main focus with that recently has been on um, making my art make people feel something. Because I feel
Mhm.
like when you feel something, that means that you're in that moment, you're in touch with your emotions. And I feel like just being in that space leads to us being more compassionate. And I really feel like that's what the world needs right now, some more compassion. Not to get too soapy, but
Oh no, right.
yeah. So
Speak on that.
that's my main focus. I don't have too many, and maybe I should have more tangible ideas of exactly what I want. But I know one of the main things I'm moved by is impact. I really want my
Mhm.
art to impact people, and that after you see it, you took something from that. So yeah.
Amen. Amen. And amen. Um, to close out, let people know where they can find you, social media wise. The floor is yours. Promote your brand.
All right. So the best place to see my art right now is on social media. The best place is Instagram, and it's at Taylor's Take. And my name is spelled Taylar. So Taylor's Take. And on Instagram, and then it's on Facebook at Taylor's Take. And I'm building my website, but it's not finished. So those are the both places.
I was about to ask that. I'm like, where's the website? Should have been a long time ago. Where that? Where that?
Absolutely.
Where that?
No
Um,
excuse. No
I'm
excuse.
going to show you one last thing. This is another mural that my friend Rob did. That's actually
Wow.
him right there in
Is
the
this the
picture.
same? Is that the same man?
Yeah, that's the same
Pro
guy. Yep.
Pro Black.
Yep.
That's incredible. Is that a mural?
Yeah, that was another one he did. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So he has been doing it for 30 years. I definitely got to link you two up. He's coming also to the wedding as well. So I'll make sure you
I
two meet in
would
person.
love to meet him. You said he's been doing it for 30 years?
Yeah, he's been doing it for long,
That's amazing.
long time. Like there are so many pieces that he's created that I wish if I had every piece that he made that I like, this there would be no room to put anything else in this room because he just has so many. But I mean, the guy is great at what he does, and he
He's
one thing I
glowing.
like about him. The one thing I like about him is he opened up a place called Artists for Humanity, where he
Hmm.
opened up the floor for teenagers and young adults who want to become visual artists, and he just opened up the building and gave the platform, and he has so many. There's like 50 to 60 students that he is, you know, nurtured over the years and just breathed life into, and now they're just like on a level that's even just as good as his or better than his, which is what he's trying to do. He wants these people to be better than he is, and so that's what he's
Right.
done tirelessly for the last 20 something years. So he's a
I
real good guy.
absolutely love that. I love that. And going back to that last question you asked me, that for sure is something, is finding some type of way to give back to other artists or
Mhm.
even younger artists or, children in the arts, that type of thing. Because it's so important because I think we're just getting to a point where people are not thinking of art as a hobby and realizing it can be a career. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of naysaying when you're trying to, become a full-time artist. So we need that support. So I love that he's doing that. That's great.
Yeah. Amen and amen. And support does cost money, ladies and gentlemen. So us struggling artists out here, yeah, don't
Hit us
shortchange
up.
the artists. And and I always ask Taylor every time I want a picture, I was like, I don't want the discount price. Let me know how much it is. Like I
He
want to pay you
does.
what it's
Yep.
worth. Yeah, so like don't if you're listening right now, the best way to support someone is to pay it what it's worth. Don't try to ask for the handout or some discount. Yeah, we know times are tough, but the artistry ain't going anywhere. She has many of these that she can just easily give you when you got the money. So do your due diligence and just pay the lady the correct way. Because she works hard and it takes these materials and the paintbrushes and this costs money.
Expensive. It's
Yeah, it's
expensive, and the
very
time that
expensive
goes
art.
into it. Yeah, and people are giving a part of, a piece of their heart they're giving to you. So, for those who love art, I don't have to explain it to them. They get
So
it.
one last question. Where can people see you next?
Well, so I don't have any shows. I'm trying to think as I say that set right now, but I
Mhm.
have a really fun event coming up on April 15th, Saturday, April 15th at the American Royal. I'm
Okay.
working on the project right now for Parade of Hearts.
Nice.
I'll try to, yes, I'll try to explain it really fast, but basically in Kansas City, we have all these like 5 foot tall heart sculptures all over the city. And they've commissioned artists to paint them. And when they sell them, the proceeds go to charities. So I'm working on one of those right now, and there's 40 of them being made right now in the city, and all
Nice.
40 of them will be on display at the same place at the American Royal, Saturday, April 15th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I would love to meet you there, and I'll have some of my other pieces.
Well, when you do get a flyer for that, make sure you send it to me and I will post it on all my IG pages and everything. Kayla and I will not be able to come to that because we're going to go see New Edition that night in St. Louis. So,
Oh,
yeah,
understandable. That's a
yeah.
good excuse. That's a good reason. That'll
But
be nice.
we are definitely there in spirit. If we weren't doing that, we
Oh
come out and
yeah.
hang with you every chance we get. So, but you have a big task coming up in August. Hmm.
Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
am going to be painting the wedding
No,
portrait.
don't say a word. Nope, nope.
Oh, I'm
If
sorry.
you're not there, you're just not going to see it. You'll just wait to
I
see it
may
later.
or may not.
Oh no, it's happening, but we don't want to put that out there what it is just yet. It's
Oh
just
no, no,
something you're
no.
going to have to see, and then you'll see it. It's not. It's only going to be a one of one, ladies and gentlemen. It is not for sale. It is not going to be duplicated. It is really just a one of one.
One of one.
So, yeah,
Super excited for that. Super excited for
yeah,
that.
you and me both. I can't wait for it to come and go because
I'm
this is
sure
going
it's I can only imagine the planning that would go into a wedding.
Man, it is not for the faint of heart, but it's an experience that I will never forget because it's just fun when you create something from the ground up with somebody that's willing to fight with you instead of against you. So I'm enjoying it. I can't wait.
I
Almost
love
there.
it.
141 days, I think now. Something like
Wow,
that.
that sounds really short when you say it that way.
Yeah, it's a while, but it's not a while. But we're almost there.
Right.
Listen, thank you again for taking the time out to spend with us on this Thursday evening. I'm glad we met, and I'm glad we got a chance to do this. And I have a few empty spaces left here in this room that need work, so I will be getting at you when my funds are correct. And yeah, thank you again for just everything that you're doing, breathing life into this art form. And there's somebody out there that's watching this right now that's gonna be like, well, dang, I need to link up with that woman and learn from her. So,
Yeah, please just take a look at my work. I would really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you and Kayla for being so supportive all the time. I really appreciate it. When I see your faces at different events and stuff, like I really appreciate it. And thanks for having me.
of course. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Taylor. I'm Des. Sayonara, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you again next week. But right now, it's time for me to go downstairs and eat a juicy, fat, greasy hamburger that my wife
I'm
made for
jealous.
me. Don't be jealous. Wait. You know you can come over this house anytime and hang with us. You know, all you gotta do is say, "Can
Remember
I come
that.
over?" Yeah, come on now. You know you can come over
Well,
to this
you
house.
enjoy that.
Huh?
I said, well, you enjoy that. It sounds delicious.
All right, my friend. Thank you, Taylor, for everything. Keep doing what you're doing, and God bless you.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody. We will see you again next Thursday. Salute. Ding. All right. How do you end this thing? Okay. Cool. That was fun.